Good evening, Instagram Live, Facebook, YouTube, Steam It. I have another report. We've had some real interesting stuff going on. I'm going to title this video, What Tangled Webs We Weave, because the Democrats have really been trying to deceive. And they have been really weaving a web of deceit everywhere. Let's go back to the election primaries. If you remember, the Democrats had Bernie Sanders versus Hillary Clinton, and apparently there was interference in the primaries there, where Bernie had more votes, but apparently Hillary was then named as the lead Democratic candidate to run on behalf of the Democratic ticket. And there was a lot of dirty stuff going on there, where they forced the, at that time, Democratic National Committee chairperson Debbie Wasserman-Schultz to step down because of the scandal. And then they had Donna, I forgot Donna's last name, but Donna was the successor, and she also had to step down. So all the Democrats always have conflicts of interest. I'm absolutely amazed that any Democrats still support the Democratic Party. If you have any honest bones in your body and you see what's going on there, and you're still a Democrat, then I can only attribute that to your support for the Democrats as being insanity, or you're just plain stupid. Because they are absolutely corrupt. Or, well, then again, you could also be absolutely corrupt too. So that's the third option. And that's probably why you still support the Democrats, even though all of this stuff is presented to you. So it was back in that primary time when this whole Russian collusion situation kind of came forth, because WikiLeaks released that the servers were showing that the DNC servers from their computers were showing that that Bernie Sanders had been robbed of the primary. So then that's when the Democrats started crying, "Oh, Russia hacked the DNC servers," and they leaked all that information through WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks is supposedly now a Russian entity. Well, WikiLeaks is not a Russian entity, especially when the leader of WikiLeaks was in a embassy in I believe he's in Ecuador right now. Well, how can it be Russian? And then he gave a presentation, I think, in Berlin at one point. I can't remember, but there's just no connection to Russia. And we actually found that out recently too. That there was a leak, that investigations have finally found out that it's not a hacking that got into this DNC servers. It was an inside the DNC staffer who actually got the information, probably uploaded the information from the servers on a flash drive or multiple flash drives. And this is probably related to the murder of Seth Rich, where they found his body shot in the back, and they were calling it a botched robbery, but they didn't take his watch, his wallet, or anything. And I have a feeling that he was a Bernie supporter. I believe he was a Bernie supporter, and he got this information that the DNC had created all these problems with the primaries, and so he wanted to leak that information, and he ended up dead before he could leak it. Now, there were other IT staffers there, and this is the story that's come up today. Imran Aman and his brothers were apparently Pakistani natives. They're not even U.S. citizens. They're working for the Democratic National Committee as IT staffers. You'll hear on the news a lot of the Democrats are trying to brush this whole situation off as not a partisan issue, that they work as IT people for everybody. But the reality of it is, they're only working for Democrats. They've been employed by close to 30 House Democrats to work as IT staff, in addition to being the Democratic National Committee's IT staffers. And they were arrested at Dulles airport trying to get to flee to Pakistan. And they're accused of in addition to all of this server stuff, they're accused of wire fraud. Apparently, there's a congressional federal credit union where uh, uh, Imran Aman tried to get $165,000 in funds for a supposed rental property, but then the feds found out that he was wiring that money to two entities in Pakistan. So he's been abusing the system and getting money for it. The Democrats Imran Aman and his brothers in 2009, and they have paid them up to $4 million for their services. In addition to some other scandals they've been doing, they apparently defrauded their own mother by kidnapping their father, who was elderly, and wiretapping their mother and basically abusing their mother in order to get the money that their father had. Interestingly enough, I'm going through something similar to that with some relatives trying to steal money. So it's everywhere. So these guys are bad guys. These Aman brothers, they're bad dudes. And they're probably connected to Seth Rich. So initially what happened is Debbie Wasserman-Schultz was under investigation because of the DNC stuff. So the Capitol Police in Washington confiscated some equipment from her. They also got equipment from Imran. And Debbie Wasserman-Schultz has a video where she threatens... This is unbelievable. She threatens the chief of the Capitol Police that he needs to turn over Imran Aman's laptop or his equipment because Aman is not under investigation, apparently, related to her. But the chief said that there are extenuating circumstances where he cannot just turn over those that IT equipment, and she threatens him that there will be consequences, whatever that means. The Democrats seem to have pretty severe consequences as people mysteriously commit suicide or get robbed, and the robbers don't take anything, but these people all end up dead. So what those consequences were, it sounds like she was threatening the chief of police. That's a no-no. Well, somehow the FBI got involved and they smashed hard drives. Does this remind you of anything? Didn't Hillary Clinton's State Department smash equipment after she deleted emails? Oh my God, this is going to be really interesting. I have a feeling the FBI now has their hands on some very incriminating evidence. So watch the news. You're either going to see a lot of FBI agents, Capitol Police commit suicide. They get depressed all of a sudden. They're going to commit suicide. You're going to see a lot of witnesses who are supposed to testify against the Democrats commit suicide or accidentally crush themselves with weightlifting equipment or get robbed by robbers who don't like to take anything and then end up shooting the victims. The Democrats, you're going to see some dirty business. The Democrats brought it on themselves with this Russian BS because it brought it all back so that everyone knows now the Russian BS is just that BS. You'll still hear it on the news that the Russians are doing everything with Trump. Trump is colluding with the Russians. Well, if that's the case, why isn't he arrested already? If it's so blatantly Russian collusion. Trump is all by himself. He has no friends in the Republican Party. He has no friends in the Democratic Party. So it should be easy to arrest him. No one's going to commit suicide if they try to testify against him. It's not like the Democrats. Democrats have a herd mentality where they have a big network of people working to kill anyone who tries to testify against them, to frame anyone, to get them basically off the streets, and to obstruct any progress for our country and to cover up anything that they've done. But now the FBI has your servers. So I hope you guys are quaking in your boots, you Democrats. I hope you're quaking in your boots, because I have a feeling we're going to find out a lot from those smashed servers. And the FBI has their techniques of recovering data. So we may find out that the Pizzagate scandal that was supposedly fake, according to John Podesta and all the other Democrats, you're going to find out that they actually have a pedophile network. And you may see connections for why Bill Clinton likes to fly to pedophile island. I forgot the name of the guy. Jeffrey. Forgot his name. He owns the island and always flies in everybody. And supposedly there's a pedophile island there where they have sex with kids. We're seeing a lot of pedophiles coming down. The Seattle mayor recently is under an investigation for being a pedophile. But back to the server issue. The Democrats all during the election were claiming that Donald Trump doesn't know how to keep national security secrets. Well, here they have now Pakistani nationals who are working as IT aides who had access to everybody's servers and hardware. WikiLeaks reminded everybody about a tweet where Nancy Pelosi's... what's up, John? Where Nancy Pelosi mentions how... Imran Aman had access to her iPad. They had security clearance at the highest levels. This is a big issue. And I kind of am excited to see what's going to happen. I hope that a lot of Democrats fall. I hope a lot of establishment Republicans fall, that they get captured and for the evil they do. Because believe me, there are pedophiles in the Republican Party too. And as a Republican, I want my party purged. I'm not like the Democrats. Democrats will stick together no matter what. You could have 4 bad Democrats and 1 good Democrat, but they'll all stick together. That one will never squeal on them, because the Democratic Party is all about being bound together. They think they're stronger together that way. But the reality of it is, it makes you arrogant. And they are showing their arrogance. And when you're arrogant, you slip up. You make a lot of mistakes. Sorry, I just ate dinner, so trying to talk and digest at the same time. Apparently my body doesn't multitask well. But so I'm really interested in what's going to happen here. So anyway, Nancy Pelosi had some kind of a email that she sent out back in May of 2016 referring to Imran Aman getting her iPad. And WikiLeaks reminded, Julian Assange reminded everybody about that by tweeting it after the arrest at Dulles. So, there you go. Democrats deep in it, tangled web. Now, I'm looking at the Democrats in California. Today, Jerry Brown just signed in an assembly bill that approves cap and trade. I forgot the number. It's 300 something. 300... I don't want to quote a number, but I'll put it in the link for... I don't read off notes, if you can see. I'm just holding my camera and talking. So everything's off of memory, but I pretty much understand what's going on here. Jerry Brown has approved cap and trade. So cap and trade, I've done a video on this, is all a scam started by Al Gore and all his global warming Democrats, where they make it sound like to the average person cap and trade does something to prevent pollution. Because you hear the word cap, but then most people don't understand the word trade. And if you really look at what cap and trade is, I'm going to try to explain it again simply if I can. You'll have company A and company B. Maybe I should do it reverse based upon how you're watching the video. Let me just keep it that way. Company A, company B are both polluting. And the government, through the Democrats, will put an imaginary cap or limit on how much they can pollute. So if you imagine a line here from the top of my head, I don't know if you can kind of see here in the vehicle here, there's a line here, so, and a line here. There's your cap. So company A, let's say they produce more than that, more pollution than that cap. They produce. If the cap is right here, and here's the top of their production, this is their excess pollution. They are violators of cap and trade. They're in trouble. But let's say company B here produces pollution, and that's about as much as they produce. So if this is the cap, and they only produce here, they have a credit. They have what's known as a carbon credit, in which they don't produce any, they have a space to produce more pollution if they wanted to. but they're actually complying pretty well, and they're not polluting. So according to this cap, they're good. But according to this cap, this A company is bad by this much. Well, it so happens that this amount that the company B is not producing is the same amount that company A is producing. So what can happen is company B has what's known as a carbon credit, and they can sell that carbon credit, they can trade it to company A, who has an excess, and that excess is offset by that credit, and it becomes zero. So basically, company A is now producing pollution at the cap line. But the reality of it is, that's a philosophy, because the reality of it is, there's still all this pollution that company A has produced. There's no incentive for them not to produce that. It doesn't stop them from producing that. All it does is it allows them, when they're making money, to trade with company B, and allows them the ability to produce pollution, even though company B is being a good company. So it has no effect on pollution at all. Absolutely none. No effect on the amount of carbon dioxide in the air. And again, I'll tell you that carbon dioxide in the air is a good thing, because that is what plants breathe when the sun shines down on them. It's called photosynthesis. If you're all about science and the facts, look at it. And if you look at the sun right now, we're going through a sun cycle where it is having massive coronal mass ejections, or it's exploding particles into the air. The sun is very active. So we're feeling heat waves right now, and it has nothing to do with people. Last time I checked, there's nobody on the sun. Democrats and global warming con artists. If you can prove to me otherwise, show me. If there's anyone on the sun polluting or pumping the sun, or if you can show some kind of connection where carbon dioxide on the earth affects the flaming and explosions and ejections and solar winds of the sun, then I'll believe you. But I can guarantee you that you have no proof, because I know that's science. I know it myself. So I know photosynthesis is good for plants. Carbon dioxide is good for plants. The plants use the carbon dioxide to build their own structure. They take the water from the soil, the photon from the sunlight. They use the energy from that photon to recombine the carbon dioxide with the water and oxygen and carbon dioxide, and they make starches, or they make sugars. So when you eat a fruit, it tastes sweet. When they make starches, you see the plant grow. So all of this global warming stuff is garbage. And Jerry Brown is signing in a new assembly bill so that they can tax you. So now the government can get a gasoline tax on you, in addition to the other gasoline tax that they got from a Senate bill, in addition to another gasoline tax. And then what do? The California legislature votes themselves a pay increase. You Democrats better frickin' wake up at the con that's going on. Because you may think that the government's going to give you benefits. They're not going to give you benefits. You're going to find out the government's going to declare bankruptcy. They're going to pay their government employees big bills, big paychecks, and you're going to get squat. You're going to be living in an economy that is totally blown away by the stupid socialist policies, and the transfer of wealth is not going to happen to you. It's going to happen to them. You're transferring your wealth to them. And then what do you liberals do? What do you leftists do? When you go into a state and you vote for these leftist Democrats, you get pissed off when the economy's not good and there are no jobs. And what do? You all move to Texas. You all move to a place where there's a conservative government who managed everything well, is creating jobs, because all the jobs are there. But then you're bringing your leftist philosophy to that other state. Guess what? Eventually, the way you vote, you're going to get the same kind of government there. You're going to get the same kind of poverty, lack of jobs, and suffering that you have here. I'm all for it, though. The more taxes we have here in California, I know the leftists talk a good one about paying taxes. Yeah, everyone should pay their fair share, but when it comes to the tax bill coming in, they don't want to pay it themselves, so they'll leave this state. So Jerry Brown is actually doing conservatives a favor by taxing everybody, because the conservatives are the only ones who are going to stay here. We love this state. We want it. We want this state to stay the way it is. The leftists are going to destroy this state, just like they did in Michigan, just like they're doing in Illinois, just like they're doing in Ohio. They're destroying things, and then the conservatives have to come in and rebuild everything. New Jersey, Connecticut, the leftists destroy everything, and they like to deny it, but you just look at what's going on, and it's happening right now. You're having states go bankrupt, and look who's running it. You can't say Republicans are at fault. They wanted to blame Flint, Michigan water on Republicans, but who was in charge at the time? Democrats. You won't hear that from the media, because the mainstream media is Democrat supporting. So, people need to wake up. We need to wake up. So there's a big gas tax coming. Your gasoline is going to be expensive. At a time when, because gasoline is supposed to be falling, and the government collects taxes off of the price of gasoline. So when the price of gas is falling because we're in a deflationary economy and people are not driving as much, the demand for gas is falling, the price of gas is falling. When you see the price of gas falling, you know the overall United States economy is about to crap out. Because gasoline usually, and oil products are usually a sign, because they tend to be what's known as inelastic. Doesn't matter what the price is, people will buy it unless they're not making money. That's the main indicator. So you could raise the price on oil and gasoline all you want, but people still need to travel, and they will still buy it. But if you see the price going down, it's telling you that people just don't have the money. And we're seeing it in the credit cycle. There's so much debt out there. There's no jobs. People can't afford to service their credit. We're going to have the exact same repeat of 2008. Nothing was solved. Because guess what? The banks didn't want to solve the problem. They just wanted to make more money off of you. So that the poorer you are, the more you'll rely on the government and on the banks to save you. Especially if you think like a socialist. And this leads into what I'm talking about with tangled webs. The people are becoming very lazy. And they're trying to rely on ease. Ease of life to make everything better. But they're trading something on behalf of that. If you want an easy life, in terms of what what kind of work you have to do, you have to trade your own security for that. And we're seeing that now. We're seeing that people like Apple is coming out with a new operating system for the iPhone and for the iPad. It's called iOS 11. If you look into iOS 11, it makes using your iPhone so much easier. But there's increase in data mining. So in other words, they're going to take all your personal information, how much money you have, how much money you spend, where you spend it, where you go each day. The iPhone tracks where your car is, because I know when I park my car, it tells me your car is parked here. How did you know it was my car? It knows the speed I'm traveling. It knows the route I'm traveling. It knows the route to tell me that's the quickest. It knows everything you do, everywhere you go. I'm starting to reconsider my iPhone. I may not go with iPhone anymore. I may just get off smartphone altogether. My mom is is a senior already, and she keeps this little flip phone. And my brother and I are always making fun of her that society moves at a quicker pace and you can't do anything with those old phones. But she can't be tracked on that phone. The other issue is the CIA released this tracking software, and it leaked out. Hackers got their hands on it, and now every Wi-Fi hotpoint infects your phone. So if you go to McDonald's and you get on their Wi-Fi, Panera, you get on the Wi-Fi, Starbucks, you get on the Wi-Fi, the CIA watching programs or algorithms get downloaded or uploaded onto your phone, and then they can watch you no matter what. So in this interconnected world, we're choosing ease of use so that we can make our lives easier, but then you're trading your security and your privacy, because the government is going to be watching you and the businesses are going to be watching you. That is fascism, when the businesses are watching you and they're in hand with the government. So welcome to fascist America. It's coming, and the people are choosing it. They're choosing to get a little chip in their hand, so that when they go to work, their money's on it, their medical information, the key to unlock the door is on it. So all they have to do is wave it by the door fob and the door will open for them. It unlocks and they can open the door. So easy. It's easy. What a tangled web. It makes things easier. It's like a fly. A fly can fly around and land on it, and once you're in it, you're stuck, because ease is very difficult to get away from. It's very difficult to get away from ease. Most people want to go on vacation. Ease is, or vacation is a way to get some easy life or easy living going on. Most people do drugs. They don't talk about it. They do drugs in some form or fashion. They do alcohol. They do marijuana. They do heroin, crystal meth. Fortunately, I've gotten off of all those things. I'll still have a drink every now and then, but I try to get off of the alcohol and the other drugs, so that I haven't been doing drugs for years. I did that in my teens when I was in high school. Got introduced to some drugs and haven't touched them since, because it messes up your mind, messes up your motivation. You get lazy, you get paranoid, and you can't really think clearly. So they ease your mind. It's easy when you get high. So really think about the ease of what you're doing. Some of the chips are going in the back of the heads of the employees. You can't remove that. If you ever have a change in heart that you don't want to have that in you, good luck digging that out with a knife and a mirror. You could probably dig one out in your wrist with a knife, but these are the issues of the mark of the beast that religion talks about. And I can see how visionary the prophets were, because the prophets saw all this stuff some 2,000 years ago or more, 5,000 years ago. Some of them saw that there's going to be a time when they can get all the government or some entity can get control of all your information, and if they don't like you, they can lock off that information from any commerce. So you can't buy anything, you can't sell anything, you can't afford to eat. We are very close to those times. I don't know if we're in those times. Again, as a Catholic, I don't believe that the end times are now, but Jesus gave us the signs, and it's possible they are. And in my own church, we're seeing a lot of the evil ones are taking over in the church. But Jesus promised us that the gates of hell will not prevail over his church. And Jesus is the truth. And I trust in Jesus. So I know that the church may go through hard times. The church as we know it may cease to exist. But the real church will never end. And God will come back and save his people. But we also have to contribute. The Protestants believe in faith alone. As a Catholic, I don't believe in faith alone. I believe that faith, God will support you, but you don't sit there and just pray that God drops money on your lap when you need money to pay your bills. God supports you when you act. And by your actions alone, you don't get saved, because it's not you saving you, it's God saving you. But you have to act, and God will yield the increase. There's scriptures about that. Who waters matters not. One waters, one plants, but God yields the increase. That's a paraphrase of scripture, but and if I look it up, I'll put it in the link below on my YouTube. But who waters, or who plants and who waters matters not. It's God who yields the the increase. So, as a faithful person, that's what I believe. If you're not faithful, good luck on that. Now, the final topic is Donald Trump is not allowing transgenders to join the military anymore. And of course, the left considers that a ban. But it's a cost-cutting mechanism because of Chelsea Manning, who formerly was Bradley Manning, had a sex change in the military. He, she, whatever it is, set the precedent for getting sex changes in the military. So now, anybody who wants to have a sex change can join the military and get a sex change on the government's tab. And reality is, what is the government's tab? It's the people's tab. Because we pay the taxes to the government and don't get the representation that we want. It goes to the people who don't need that representation, and they're abusing the money, and they get that money. So Donald Trump is cutting expenses. It has nothing to do with you being transgender. It has to do everything to do with the surgeries. If we had people coming in and they, let's say Christians wanted to join the military, and they still believed in circumcision like the Jews, and they wanted the government to pay it, I'm sure Donald Trump would not allow that. And he would cut off those specific types of Christians from joining the military because we just can't flat out afford it. What's wrong with you liberals? What's wrong with you leftists? You think everyone has unlimited cash and you got none of yourself and you want everybody to pay for it? So anyway, the transgenders want everyone to accept them for who they are, but they can't even accept themselves for who they are. They're born as a man and they want to be a woman. You know what? Learn to accept yourself for who you are first before you start telling us to accept you for who you are. I got no problem with what you want to be. You want to be a girl and you're a guy? I don't care. That's up to you. Don't force that on me. Don't force that on me. That's your business. But don't make me pay for it. You want to cut your things off? Go for it. You want to sew your things closed? Go for it. But pay for it yourself. Don't force us all to pay for it. And that's where I'm going to end this broadcast. What tangled webs we weave. It's amazing. And people cannot see it. I try to make it clear for you though, and hopefully I did, but it makes these videos long. And I'm trying to cut down the length of these videos, but it seems like as days are going on, more and more stuff is coming out, and people just, I still see all these factions of people fighting each other when the thing is right in front of you. You can see what's going on, and you can argue about perception all you want, but the reality of it is the way it's there. It's right there in front of you. So, because of the way people are, our economy is going to be collapsing soon, and again, like in my other video, I don't know if it was the last one or the one before it. I think it depends what platform you're on. On YouTube, it was the one before my last video. And on Steam, it's my last video where I'm giving a presentation about how the government steals from you and how the banks steal from you. Both of them are stealing from you. But this specifically focused on their monetary and fiscal policies. And right now I'm focusing on the monetary policies of the Fed because the Fed has the biggest influence on credit with interest rates. And so what I anticipate is going to happen is the economy is going to crash. You're going to see a stock market crash. You're going to see big crashes. And the Fed is going to try to hold interest rates steady right now so prices stay elevated because they said that their main goal is to shrink their balance sheet. So they're going to try to shrink the balance sheet while the prices are stable. And then they may raise interest rates and cause a crash. So when is their balance sheet empty? No one knows. So you have to keep your eyes open. And like I said, I've kind of put my shorting of the stock market on hold. I still hold short, a small amount of short positions, just in case the market crashes and I can capture some money from that. But I'm going to wait until you start to see some more market rising, and then you start to hear a little bit of Fed negativity where they're going to raise interest rates. And I will just jump into my shorts there because I see them squeezing shorts right now. You see the stock market rallying. Yesterday was 100 some points. Today is 80 some points. They are squeezing the hell out of people who are shorting the markets. And I'm getting a few charges myself, but they're so minuscule compared to how much money I'm making on the other side that I can afford to cover it. And so I understand what the game is. So I'm going to let them squeeze. Let them squeeze all those suckers, those weak hands out, and then I'm going to come in after all these squeezes. So they may be able to squeeze it up another couple hundred, up to completely new record highs. We may even get to like 23,000 on the Dow. I'm all for it. Higher it goes, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And markets take the elevator down and the escalator up. So I prefer the downfall to make my quick windfall. And then I will roll it into something else so that I don't have to pay tax on it. So, if you want to follow my strategies, that's on you. Again, what I say is not financial advice. Just telling you what I'm doing, telling you how I see it. Everybody has their own risk tolerance. Everyone has their own fears, their own emotions that they can't control or they can. And you all make different decisions based on that. So when I tell you something that I'm doing, if you want to do it, that's on you. But your timing may be different because I got balls. I don't care. I'll do it like that. And if you decide to do it like later, your timing may be off. And, the way I see it is like a train going by. And every now and then you'll have a door as the train goes by. And I see those doors and I time it where I'm running and I jump through the door as the train goes by. You may be a little bit late and that door may go by, you'll jump and then smack right onto the train car. So this is why you have to develop your own understanding of markets. You have to develop your own timing. And I give you the information so that you can kind of figure it out on your own. but I will not give you financial advice. I will not give you legal advice. I will not give you any advice other than voting advice, because I am a qualified voter. I do educate myself before I vote for people, and I make sure I know who I vote for, especially after I made the mistake of voting for globalist George Bush twice for president. And then I found out what a globalist he was, and a traitor to the United States. I will not make that mistake again as much as possible. You know, I'm going to educate myself about politics, even though I don't want to get involved in politics myself. And I would hope that you as a voter, as an American citizen, would do the exact same, because what you choose affects all of us. And if you're in a group of idiots and you outnumber me, you can kill us all by your vote. If none of you guys educate yourselves and I'm the only one educated, doesn't matter. If there are 5 of you and you outnumber my vote, we're screwed. Except for the United States having the Electoral College. Thank God for the Electoral College. That way the criminal Hillary and murderer Hillary Clinton is not our president right now. And she may get caught because of this recent server capture by the Capitol Police and the FBI. So, keep your fingers crossed that we see some downfall of these evil, evil people. I'm tired of evil people coming through claiming they're doing good things on behalf of other people, when in fact they're trying to steal money and steal power. All you people are going to go down, because I know that God is watching. And God usually lets people do as they want because it's free will. But at some point, he gets sick of it. Because even his good free will people, no matter how much they follow him, get so much pain because of you evil people. At some point, he's going to come through and spank the crap out of all you. And I'm confident on that, because it happens all the time. And I'm seeing it happen with the Democrats. They're contributing to their own suicide, but by their arrogance and their lack of faith in spirituality and their choice to serve the wrong spiritual entity who's down in the fire, they're going to get burned big time. And I pray that you bad guys convert so that you don't get burned down there. I don't want that for my worst enemy. I want you guys to smarten up. I want you evil people to smarten up. Because what goes on down there is forever. It's forever. Spiritually. So consider who you're following. The devil's kind of cool and fun to you, but not when he's down there. Up here, he makes it look nice. He makes everything look sexy. All the bad things look sexy, and they look great and powerful and inviting and seductive. But down there, that all goes out the window. He's got you on the grill for eternity. So rethink that. Seriously. Take some spiritual time. Some quiet time. If you don't believe in God, meditate on it. Because you only got one life here, and it could end like that. And then down there, you got forever to find out whether Jesus was the truth, the way, and the life, or another liar and con man. And to me, I don't want to find that out. Because the things that Jesus, even if Jesus isn't telling us the truth, the philosophies he's taught are very good. How is it bad to love another person? How is it bad to love your enemy as yourself? How is it bad to do good to others and to sell what you have and give to the poor and be able to follow Jesus, not worship the stuff that you have? He's not saying to actually do it. He's saying you should be able to do it. You should be able to sell what you have and not be so stuck to it that, you know, if God goes to heaven, you let him go because you got all this stuff here on earth, and store up your treasures on earth. Be able to let those things go. I tell you about all the trading stuff, but I can let it go easy. If it comes to going to God, God is my precious treasure, more than silver and gold. So no matter what I tell you about silver and gold, no matter what I tell you about shorting the Dow, no matter what I tell you about shorting tech stocks or what here, there, and there, whatever, God is number one in my life. Always know that. And he always comes to my aid when I need it most. He's always been faithful. Whenever I've had monetary problems, he's come and saved me, given me the understanding and the courage to do what I need to do to save me at the exact moment I needed it, even when I was worried. That more and more I'm learning to trust God, and that I'm never alone when God is near. So that's my testimony to you, that we have tangled webs here. God is going to clean out those cobwebs. Don't get entangled in them. God be with you. Have a good week. The way things are going, I'll probably have another video tomorrow. But if not, I will see you Sunday. God bless.